Captain Jake Morrison sat in his worn leather chair on the bridge of the cargo ship New Horizon. The ship was old but reliable, just like Jake preferred it. He had been flying cargo runs between Earth colonies for 15 years now, and he knew every sound his ship made. Today felt like any other day as they traveled through the quiet darkness of space. The bridge was small and simple. 3 chairs faced a large window that showed the stars ahead. Jake's engineer, Lisa Parker, sat at her station, checking the ship's systems. She was a smart woman in her 30s who could fix anything that broke on the ship. Next to her sat Tony Walsh, their medic. Tony was younger than the others, but he was good at his job and always ready to help anyone who got hurt. Jake looked at the navigation screen. They were carrying supplies to the mining colony on Titan 7. It was a boring job, but it paid well. The 3 of them had worked together for 3 years now, and they had become like family. They trusted each other completely. "Looks good, Captain," Lisa said, not looking up from her screen. "We should reach Titan 7 in about 2 days." "Good," Jake replied. He was about to get up for some coffee when Lisa suddenly looked confused. "Wait," she said, staring at her screen. "I'm getting something strange here." Tony turned in his chair. "What kind of strange?" Lisa pressed some buttons and frowned. "It's a signal. Very weak. Coming from Sector 779. Jake walked over to look at her screen. "That sector isn't on our charts." "What kind of signal?" "It looks like a distress call," Lisa said, "but it's not using any human codes. The pattern is completely different." Jake felt his heart beat faster. A distress call meant someone was in trouble. But if it wasn't human, that meant it was alien. In all his years of flying, Jake had never met an alien. Most humans never did. The galaxy was big, and different species usually stayed in their own areas. "How far away is it?" Jake asked. Lisa did some quick math. "About 6 hours if we change course now." Tony looked worried. "Captain, we're supposed to deliver these supplies on time. The mining colony is counting on us." Jake nodded. Tony was right. They had a job to do. The mining colony needed food and medicine. If they were late, people might get sick or go hungry. But someone else was sending a distress call. That meant they were in danger and needed help right now. "Can you tell how strong the signal is?" Jake asked Lisa. She worked on her computer for a minute. "It's getting weaker. Whatever is sending it doesn't have much power left." Jake stood quietly for a moment, thinking. His father had been a cargo pilot too. He always told Jake that space was big and dangerous, and that people had to help each other when they could. If you don't help someone in space, his father used to say, who will help you when you need it. But this wasn't a person. This was an alien. Jake didn't know anything about aliens. They might be dangerous. They might try to hurt his crew. On the other hand, they were asking for help. That had to mean something, Lisa. How long would it take us to get there? Help whoever it is and still make our delivery on time. Lisa thought about it. If we're quick, we might only be a few hours late. Jake made up his mind. Change course. We're going to help. Tony looked surprised. "Are you sure, Captain? You don't know what we're flying into. Someone is in trouble." Jake said, "That's all I need to know." Lisa smiled and started changing their course. She had always liked Jake's kind heart. Tony still looked worried, but he trusted Jake's judgment. As they flew toward the signal, Jake thought about what they started there might find. Maybe it would be a small ship with engine trouble. Maybe someone was hurt and needed Tony's medical help. Maybe it was something much worse. "I'm getting more information about the signal," Lisa said after an hour. "It's coming from a ship. Ship isn't moving, and it's not sending any power signatures." "What does that mean?" Tony asked. "It means their engines are dead," Jake said. "They're floating in space with no power." The thought made Jake's stomach feel cold. Being stuck in space with no power was one of the worst things that could happen to anyone. Without engines, you couldn't move. Without power, you had no heat, no air, and no way to call for help. You could only send a weak distress signal and hope someone would find you before it was too late. "Ow!" "How much longer?" Jake asked. "For hours," Lisa replied. Jake hoped they would be fast enough. When they were 2 hours away, Lisa got excited. Captain, I can see the ship on our sensors now. Jake and Tony came to look at her screen. The ship appeared as a small dot, but as they got closer, the computer showed them what it looked like. All three of them stared in amazement. The ship was beautiful. It was long and curved, almost like it had grown instead of being built. The metal was smooth and had a strange blue color. It looked nothing like any human ship Jake had ever seen. That's definitely alien, Tony said quietly. How big is it? Jake asked. Lisa checked her readings. About half the size of our ship. Like enough for maybe 10 people, but I'm only reading. 2 life signs. 2 people, Jake said. Are they alive? Yes, but their readings are weak. I think they're sick or hurt. Jake felt his heart race again. 2 aliens were dying in that beautiful ship, floating alone in the dark. He couldn't let that happen. Lisa, can we dock with their ship? She studied the alien ship's design. It won't. Be easy. Their docking port is different from ours. But I think I can make it work. As they got closer, Jake could see how damaged the alien ship was. Part of it looked like it had exploded. There were holes in the side, and pieces of metal floating. Around it, what do you think happened to them? Tony asked. Looks like their engine blew up, Lisa said. They're lucky to be alive. Jake looked at the damaged ship and thought about the 2 aliens inside. They were probably scared and in pain. They had been floating in space waiting to die until the New Horizon found them. Get us as close as you can, Jake told Lisa. We're going to save them. Tony checked his medical supplies. I don't know anything about alien biology. I might not be able to help them. You'll figure it out, Jake said. You always do. Lisa worked carefully to bring their ship next to the alien vessel. It took her an hour to line up the docking ports, but finally she managed to make a connection. We're connected, she announced. The airlocks are sealed. Jake stood up and looked. At his crew? We don't know what we're going to find in there. But whatever happens, we help them if we can. Agreed. Lisa and Tony both nodded. Jake walked to the airlock door and put his hand on the controls. On the other side of that door were 2 aliens who needed help. Jake had never been so nervous in his life.
Oh.
But he knew he was doing the right thing. He opened the door and stepped into the unknown. Jake stepped through the airlock into the alien ship. The first thing he noticed was how different everything looked. The walls were smooth and curved, like the inside of a shell. Soft blue light came from panels in the ceiling, but many of them were dark or flickering. The air smelled strange, like flowers mixed with metal. Lisa and Tony followed behind him. They all wore breathing masks, just in case the air was bad for humans. Tony carried his medical bag, and Lisa had her repair tools. The gravity feels normal, Lisa whispered. Jake nodded. That was good news. They could walk around without floating. They moved slowly down a curved hallway. The ship was quiet except for a soft humming sound. Jake could tell the ship was dying. The lights were getting dimmer, and he could feel that it was getting colder. This way, Lisa said, looking at her scanner. The life signs are coming from up ahead. It came to a door that was different from human doors. Instead of sliding to the side, it opened like a flower blooming. Beyond it was a room with 2 aliens. Jake's breath caught in his throat. He'd never seen anything so amazing and sad at the same time. The first alien was lying on what looked like a bed. She was clearly a female, though she looked very different from human women. Her skin was pale blue and had glowing marks on her arms and face. These marks pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Her hair was white and moved slowly as if she was underwater. She was beautiful, but Jake could see she was badly hurt. Dark blue blood stained her clothes, and her breathing was shallow and quick. The second alien was much smaller. She looked like a child. She sat in the corner of the room holding her, knees to her chest. Her skin was lighter blue than the adult, and her glowing marks were brighter. She had the same white hair, but shorter. When she saw the humans, her large purple eyes went wide with fear. The adult alien tried to sit up when she saw them. Said something in a language Jake had never heard. It sounded like music mixed with wind. She was clearly trying to protect the child, even though she could barely move. Jake held up his hands to show he meant no harm. He spoke slowly and clearly. "We want to help you. We got your distress call." The alien woman looked confused. She didn't understand English. Tony stepped forward carefully. "I'm a doctor," he said, pointing to himself and then to his medical bag. "I want to help you." The woman's eyes moved from Tony to his medical bag. She seemed to understand that he wanted to heal her, but she was still afraid. She pulled the child closer to her. Lisa had an idea. She took out her translation device. It was a small computer that could learn new languages by listening to them. She held it up and pressed a button. "Can you understand this?" The device said in the alien language. The woman's eyes went wide with surprise. She said something back, and the device started working to translate. After a few minutes, the device spoke in English. "Who are you? Are you going to hurt us?" Jake knelt down so he was at the same level as the alien woman. "My name is Jake. We are humans. We heard your call for help. We want to save you." The device translated his words. The woman listened, then spoke again. "She says her name is Kira," the device translated. "The child is her daughter Naya. She wants to know why we would help them." Jake thought about how to answer. "Because you need help. That's enough reason for us." When Kira heard the translation, her eyes filled with tears. She had not expected kindness from strangers. Tony slowly approached Kira. "I need to look at your injuries. I promise I won't hurt you." Kira was still scared, but she was getting weaker. She finally nodded and let Tony examine her. Tony was amazed by what he saw. Kira's body was similar to a human's in many ways, but there were differences. Her blood was dark blue instead of red. Her skin felt cooler than human skin. The glowing marks on her body seemed to show how she was feeling. Right now they were very dim, which Tony thought meant she was sick. "She has internal bleeding," Tony told Jake, "and she's very weak. I think she hasn't eaten in days." While Tony worked on Kira, Lisa approached little Naya. The child was still scared and pressed herself against the wall. Lisa sat down far away from Naya and smiled. She took out a small light from her toolkit and made it flash different colors. Naya watched with interest. Then Lisa took out a piece of food from her lunch. It was just a simple cookie, but she broke it in half and ate. One piece to show it was safe. Then she put the other piece on the floor between them. Naya looked at the cookie, then at Lisa. She was very hungry. Finally, she crawled forward quickly, grabbed the cookie, and ran back to her corner. Wow. She ate it in tiny bites, watching Lisa the whole time. "Good girl," Lisa said softly. "Are you hungry?" "Too." Through the translator, Kira told them more about what had happened. Her planet had been at war. Bad people had taken over and were hurting anyone who disagreed with them. Kira's husband had been killed trying to protect their city. She and Naya had escaped in this ship, but it had been damaged in the fighting. "We're trying to reach the sanctuary worlds," Kira said through the translator. "But our ship is dying. We have been floating here for 6 days. 6 days. Jake could hardly imagine how scared they must have been. Tony finished bandaging Kira's wounds. "I've stopped the bleeding, but she needs rest and food. And this ship is too cold. The life support is failing." Jake made a decision. "We're taking them to our ship." Kira heard the translation and became afraid again. "Please, we will not be trouble to you. Just fix our ship." "Your ship can't be fixed," Lisa said gently after examining the damage. "The engine is completely destroyed, but our ship is warm and safe. We have food and medicine." Kira looked at her daughter. Naya was shivering from the cold. The little girl's glowing marks were very dim now. "If we go with you," Kira asked, "what will you want in return?" Jake was confused. "Nothing. Just want to help you." "Nothing." Kira couldn't believe it. "But we are strangers. We are not even the same species." "That doesn't matter," Jake said. "You're in trouble. We can help. That's what people should do for each other." Kira stared at Jake for a long moment. In her world, no one helped others without wanting something back, but this human seemed different. Tony gently helped Kira stand up. She was very weak and had to lean on him. Lisa approached Naya again, this time with a warm blanket from their ship. "It's okay, little one," Lisa said softly. "We're going to take care of you and your mama." Naya didn't understand the words, but she understood the kind tone. When Lisa wrapped the blanket around her, Naya didn't pull away. They moved slowly back to the New Horizon. Jake helped carry Kira, while Lisa stayed close to Naya. The little girl kept looking back at her family's ship as they left it behind. Once they were on the human ship, Tony took Kira to the medical bay. It was small, but clean and warm. Kira had never seen human medical equipment before, but Tony showed her everything he was doing. Lisa set up a comfortable place for Naya in the storage room they had converted into living space. She gave Naya more food and showed her how the human bed worked. At first, Naya wouldn't eat much. She was too scared. But when she saw her mother eating the human food and getting stronger, she started to trust them more. That night, Jake sat with Kira while Tony slept. Through the translator, they talked about their worlds and their families. "Why do you really help us?" Kira asked. "Your people must have rules against helping aliens." Jake thought about it. Maybe we do have rules, but sometimes doing the right thing is more important than following rules. Kira's glowing marks became a little brighter. "Your species is very strange, in a good way." Jake smiled. "You're pretty strange too, but I think we're going to get along just fine." In the other room, Lisa was teaching Naya a simple human card game. The little girl was laughing for the first time since they found her. The sound made everyone on the ship smile. They still had a long way to go, but Jake knew they had done the right thing. 2 lives had been saved, and maybe, just maybe, they had made some new friends along the way. 3 days passed on the New Horizon, and everything had changed. The ship that once carried only 3 humans now felt like home to 5 very different people. Kira was getting stronger every day thanks to Tony's care, and little Naya was starting to smile more often. Jake watched from the bridge as Lisa taught Naya how to use the ship's computer. The little alien girl was incredibly smart. She learned faster than any child Jake had ever seen. In just 3 days, she had figured out how to read basic English and could even say simple words. "Look, Captain Jake," Naya said in her small voice, pointing at the computer screen. Her English was getting better every day. "I made the numbers. Dance." Jake looked at the screen and was amazed. Naya had somehow reprogrammed the navigation display to show colorful patterns that moved like a dance. It was beautiful, but it should have been impossible for a child to do. "That's wonderful, Naya," Jake said. "But how did you learn to do that so fast?" Lisa grinned. "She's a natural engineer. I showed her how the computer works once, and now she understands it better than I do." Naya's glowing marks pulsed brighter. When she was happy or excited, Jake had learned that these marks showed her emotions. When she was scared, they became dim. When she was curious or happy, they glowed like little stars. In the medical bay, Tony was checking on Kira again. She could sit up now and even walk a little bit. Her own glowing marks were much brighter than when they first found her. "You are a very good healer," Kira told Tony. "On my world, it would have taken much longer to get better." Tony smiled. "Human. Medicine isn't that special, I think you're just strong." Through their conversations, Tony had learned a lot about Zilani biology. Kira's people were stronger than humans in some ways, but more sensitive in others. They could see better in the dark, and they could sense emotions through the glowing marks on their skin, but they needed more rest than humans, and they got cold very easily. "Tony," Kira said quietly, "I need to tell you something important." "What is it?" Kira looked sad. "My people are not all good. The ones who destroyed our world, they think other species are beneath them. They believe Zilani are the only people who matter." Tony frowned. "But you're not like that." "No," Kira said. "Many of us are not. But the bad ones have the weapons and the power. They are hunting people like me who ran away." This worried Tony. "Are you saying they might come looking for you?" "Maybe," Kira admitted. "I hope not. But if they find us, they will try to take Naya and me back. And they will hurt anyone who helped us." That afternoon, Jake called his crew together for a meeting. Kira and Naya sat with them in the small dining area. It was the first time they had all eaten together as a group. "Kira told me something today," Jake began. "There might be other Zilani ships looking for you too." Lisa and Tony looked worried. Kira spoke up. I am sorry. I should have told you before. The military faction of my people, they do not like that some of us ran away. They think it makes them look weak. What would happen if they found us? Lisa asked. They would take Naya and me back to face punishment, Kira said sadly. And they would probably arrest all of you for helping us. Jake thought about this. He looked at his crew, then at little Naya, who was quietly playing with her food. She didn't understand the danger, but she trusted them to keep her safe. What do you want to do? Jake asked his crew. Tony spoke first. We can't just abandon them. They're part of our family now. Lisa nodded. I agree. Besides, maybe we won't run into any military ships. Space is really big, Jake smiled. He was proud of his crew. Then we stick together. If anyone comes looking for trouble, we'll deal with it. Kira's eyes filled with tears. You would risk your lives for us. But we are not even your species. Species doesn't matter, Jake said. You're our friends. Friends protect each other. The next day, their friendship was tested. Lisa was monitoring the ship's sensors when she detected something that made her heart race. Captain, she called out. I'm picking up a ship on our sensors. It's big, and it's heading straight for us. Jake hurried to the bridge. What kind of ship? Lisa's face was pale. It matches the design of Zilani military vessels in our database. Jake's stomach dropped. He called for everyone to come to the bridge immediately. When Kira saw the ship on their sensors, she became very frightened. Her glowing marks became almost completely dark. That is a hunter ship, she said in a shaking voice. They are looking for people like me. What do we do? Tony asked. Jake thought quickly. The military ship was much bigger and stronger than the New Horizon. They couldn't fight it. But maybe they could hide. Lisa, take us into that asteroid field, Jake ordered, pointing to a cluster of floating rocks nearby. That's dangerous, Lisa said. If we hit one of those asteroids, it could destroy our ship. It's more dangerous to let that military ship find us, Jake replied. Lisa nodded and started steering the ship toward the asteroids. It was like flying through a maze of giant rocks, some the size of buildings. She had to be very careful not to crash into them. Meanwhile, Jake was thinking of another plan. Kira, if they scan our ship, will they be able to detect you and Naya? Yes, Kira said. Zilani, life signs are different from human ones. What if we hid you somewhere they couldn't scan? Jake asked. Tony had an idea. The cargo hold has a shielded compartment where we keep sensitive equipment. Scanners can't see through it, but it's very small, Lisa added. And there's no air circulation. How long could you and Naya stay in a small space? Jake asked Kira. We can slow our breathing and heart rate when we need to, Kira explained. It's something all Zilani can do. We could stay hidden for several hours. Jake made his decision. Lisa, keep us hidden in these asteroids. Tony set up the shielded compartment for Kira and Naya. I'm going to try to fool that military ship. Day worked quickly. Tony made the small compartment as comfortable as possible with blankets and water. Kira and Naya climbed inside, and Kira showed Naya how to breathe slowly and stay very quiet. We will be brave, Naya whispered to Jake before the compartment was sealed. Thank you for protecting us. Jake's heart nearly broke. This little girl trusted him completely to keep her safe. The military ship found them an hour later. It was huge and dark, with weapons that could destroy the New Horizon easily. A voice came over their communication system, speaking in accented English. Human vessel, this is Commander Vex of the Zilani military. Stop your ship and prepare to be boarded. Jake answered calmly. This is Captain Morrison of the cargo ship New Horizon. We're just carrying mining equipment to Titan 7. Is there a problem? We are searching for 2 criminals who escaped from Zilani space. They may be hiding on ships like yours. I haven't seen any Zilani, Jake lied smoothly. You're welcome. To scan our ship if you want. There was a pause. Then the military ship began scanning the New Horizon. Jake held his breath, hoping the shielded compartment would work. After what felt like forever, Commander Vex spoke again. We detect only 3 human life signs. You may continue your journey. The military ship began to move away, but then it stopped. Wait, Commander Vex said.
Oh, why are you hiding in this asteroid field?
It is dangerous here. Jake's mind raced. Our navigation system is having problems. We were waiting for it to reset before continuing. Another long pause. Jake could see the military ship's weapons were pointed at them. Finally, Commander Vex spoke. Be more careful, human. These are dangerous times. There are criminals hiding among innocent people like you. I'll remember that, Jake said. The military ship flew away, disappearing into the darkness of space. Jake waited another hour before releasing Kira and Naya from the compartment. When they came out, both mother and daughter were crying. "You saved us," Kira said. "You risked everything to protect us." Jake hugged them both. That's what families do. That night, as they continued their journey to Titan 7, Jake realized something important had happened. They weren't just helping to strangers anymore. Kira and Naya had become part of their crew, part of their family, and Jake would do anything to protect his family, no matter what species they were. Naya fell asleep, curled up next to Lisa, who was teaching her more about human games. Kira sat with Tony, sharing stories about her husband and their old life. Jake watched them all and smiled. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight they were all safe and together. That was enough. 2 weeks later, the New Horizon was approaching human space. Jake sat in his captain's chair, but his mind was full of worry. Soon they would reach the border, where Earth Alliance ships patrolled. Then they would have to make some very difficult choices. Kira and Naya had become part of the crew. Naya helped Lisa with engineering work every day, and she was getting so good that Lisa joked the little girl might take her job. Kira worked with Tony in the medical bay, sharing knowledge about Zilani medicine that could help both species. But Jake knew that when they reached human space, everything would change. Captain Lisa called from her station. "I'm getting a message from Alliance Control. They want to know our cargo and passenger manifest." Jake's heart sank. Every ship entering human space had to report who was on board. If he told the truth, Alliance officials would take Kira and Naya away for questioning. They might be sent back to Zilani space, right into the hands of the people who wanted to hurt them. "What do I tell them?" Lisa asked. "Tell them we have standard mining equipment and 3 crew members," Jake said quietly. Lisa looked uncomfortable. "But Captain, that's not true. If they find out we lied, then we'll deal with it when it happens," Jake replied. But Jake knew they needed a better plan. That night, he called an old friend on a secure communication channel. Sam Rodriguez appeared on the screen. He was a big man with gray hair and kind eyes. Jake had known him for 20 years, ever since they were both young pilots. "Jake, my friend," Sam said with a smile, "it's been too long." "What can I do for you, Sam? I need a favor, a big one." Sam's expression became serious. "What kind of trouble are you in?" Jake looked around to make sure no one was listening. "I have 2 Zilani refugees on my ship, a mother and her young daughter. They're running from a civil war." Sam was quiet. "For a moment, Jake, you know the Alliance has rules about alien refugees. They have to go through official channels. The official channels could take months," Jake said. "These people might get sent back to die. Sam, you should see this little girl. She's amazing. She's learned to speak English in 2 weeks. Oh, she's smart and funny and brave. Her mother is a good person who just wants to keep her daughter safe." Sam rubbed his chin. "What do you want me to do? You run Haven Colony? It's far from the main Alliance routes. Could you give them a place to live?" Haven Colony was on the edge of human space. It was a farming world where people went to start new lives. Us. Sam had built it from nothing, and he made his own rules there. "Jake, if the Alliance finds out I'm harboring illegal aliens, they could shut down my whole colony." "I know I'm asking a lot," Jake said. "But these aren't just aliens. They're people. Good people who need help." Sam was quiet for a long time. Finally, he sighed. "Bring them to Haven. We'll figure something out." Jake felt relief wash over him. "Thank you, Sam. I owe you everything. Just bring them safely. And Jake, Be careful. Alliance ships have been patrolling more often lately. The next day, Jake changed course toward Haven Colony. But their luck ran out when they were still 2 days away from safety. Captain Lisa called out in a worried voice, "Alliance patrol ship approaching. They're ordering us to stop for inspection." Jake's blood turned cold. Alliance Inspector Helen Carter's ship was coming straight for them. Carter was known for following rules exactly. She never bent regulations for anyone. "What do we do?" "Tony?" asked Jake, thought quickly. They couldn't run. The Alliance ship was faster. They couldn't fight. The Alliance ship had weapons. Our only hope was to try to hide Kira and Naya again. "Get them to the shielded compartment," Jake ordered. But Kira shook her head. "It won't work this time. Alliance scanners are much better than Zilani military scanners. They will find us." Jake felt panic rising in his chest. After everything they had been through, he couldn't let Kira and Naya be taken away now. "Then we tell the truth," he decided. "Jake, no," Lisa said. "You could lose your pilot's license. Could all go to prison, maybe," Jake said. "But I'd rather go to prison than let them take our family." The Alliance ship docked with the New Horizon. Inspector Helen Carter came aboard with 2 security officers. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Captain Morrison," she said formally. "I'm here to conduct a routine inspection. Please gather your crew in the main corridor." Jake, Lisa, and Tony stood together while Carter's officers scanned the ship. Jake's heart was beating so hard. He was sure everyone could hear it. "Sir," one of the officers called out, "I'm detecting 5 life signs on this ship, not 3. Carter frowned. "Captain Morrison, your manifest shows only 3 crew members. Who else is on board?" Jake took a deep breath. "This was it. Inspector Carter, I need to tell you something. We rescued 2 Zilani refugees 3 weeks ago, a mother and her daughter. They were dying in space." Carter's face became very serious. "Captain, you know the regulations about unauthorized aliens. Where are they now?" "They're hiding," Jake admitted. "They're scared. Bring them out now." Jake nodded to Tony, who went to get Kira and Naya. When they appeared, both aliens looked terrified. Naya hid behind her mother, peeking out with wide purple eyes. Carter stared at them for a long moment. "These are the refugees?" asked Jake. "Said Inspector, before you arrest us, please let me explain. These people aren't criminals. They're just trying to survive." Carter held up her hand. "Captain Morrison, you're under arrest for violating Alliance immigration laws." Jake's heart sank. But then something unexpected happened. Little Naya stepped out from behind her mother. In her small voice, she said, "Please don't hurt Captain. Jake, he saved us. He's a good man." Carter looked down at the little alien girl. Naya's glowing marks were pulsing with fear, but she was still trying to protect Jake. "What's your name, child?" Carter asked gently. "Naya, this is my mama, Kira. We were lost in space, but Captain Jake found us, gave us food and medicine. He protected us from the bad soldiers." Carter knelt down to Naya's level. "Bad soldiers?" Kira spoke up. "Zilani military ships are hunting refugees. They want to take us back to face punishment for leaving our world." "What kind of punishment?" Carter asked. "Prison camps," Kira said quietly. "Or worse." "My husband was killed for opposing the new government." Carter stood up slowly. She looked at Jake, then at Kira and Naya, then back at Jake. "Captain Morrison, you understand that I have to file a report about this." "I understand," Jake said. "But please, don't send them back. They'll die." Carter walked over to her ship's communication system. She spoke quietly to someone for several minutes. Jake couldn't hear what she was saying, but he was sure she was calling for backup to arrest them all. When Carter finished her call, she came back to where they were all standing. "Captain Morrison," she said formally, "I've just completed my inspection of your ship. I found 3 crew members and standard mining equipment. Nothing unusual to report." Jake stared at her in shock. "Inspector?" Carter looked directly at him. "I didn't see any unauthorized aliens on your ship, Captain. My scanners must have malfunctioned." Jake couldn't believe what he was hearing, but... "However," Carter continued, "I would suggest you be more careful about your scanner maintenance. In the future, faulty equipment can cause all sorts of false readings." Lisa caught on first. "Yes, Inspector." We'll have our scanners checked as soon as we reach port. Carter nodded. See that you do. She looked down at Naya one more time. Take care of yourself, little one. Naya didn't understand everything that was happening, but she understood that the scary woman wasn't going to hurt them. Thank you, she said softly. Carter and her officers returned to their ship and flew away. Jake stood in the corridor hardly able to believe what had just happened. She let us go, Tony said in amazement. Why? Lisa asked. Jake looked at Naya, who was now playing with her glowing marks, making them pulse in pretty patterns. Because she saw what we see. They're not just aliens. They're people. Kira came over to Jake. You're Inspector Carter. She is a good person like you. Yeah, Jake said with a smile. I think she is. 2 days later, they reached Haven Colony. Sam Rodriguez was waiting for them at the spaceport with forged identification papers for Kira and Naya. Welcome to Haven, he told them. We're happy to have you. As they walked through the small colony town, Naya marveled at everything she saw. Human children played in the streets, and some of them waved at her. She waved back, her glowing marks. Bright with happiness? Is this our new home? She asked her mother. Kira looked around at the peaceful colony, then at Jake and his crew, who had risked everything to save them. Yes, little star, she said. This is our new home. 6 months had passed since Jake first heard that faint distress signal in space. Now he sat in a small cafe on Haven Colony, watching something that made his heart warm with joy. Across the street, Naya was playing with a group of human children. Her blue skin and glowing marks made her look different, but the children didn't care. They were all laughing together as Naya showed them how she could make her marks pulse in rhythm with music. She's happy, Kira said, sitting down next to Jake with 2 cups of coffee. Her English was perfect now, and she looked healthier than ever. The glowing marks on her skin were bright and steady, showing that she was at peace. So are you, Jake. Observe, Kira smiled. Yes. For the first time in years, I am truly happy. Naya goes to school with human children. She is learning so much, and I have work that matters. Kira had become the colony's technology specialist. Her knowledge of Zalani science had helped Haven Colony improve their power systems, water purification, and communication networks. The colonists had welcomed her expertise and treated her like family. Any word from Tony and Lisa? Kira asked. Jake nodded. They're doing well. Tony is working at the medical center on Mars, and Lisa got that job with the shipbuilding company she wanted. They send messages all the time asking about you and Naya. It had been hard when the crew split up, but Jake understood that Tony and Lisa had their own dreams to follow. They stayed in touch constantly, and Jake knew they would always be family. And you? Kira asked. Are you happy with your new job? Jake grinned. Who would have thought that a simple cargo pilot would become a specialist in alien refugee transport? That was Jake's new career. Word had spread quietly through the independent pilot community about what he had done for Kira and Naya. Other refugees had started sending distress calls, knowing that some humans would help them. Jake now worked with Sam Rodriguez to organize a secret network of pilots who rescued aliens in trouble. Speaking of which, Jake said, checking his communication device, I have to leave tomorrow. There's a family of Raxan refugees stranded near the border. Their ship was attacked by pirates. Kira looked worried. Be careful, Jake. The Alliance is starting to ask questions about all these refugee disappearances. I'm always careful, Jake. Said besides, I have friends now. It was true. Inspector Helen Carter had quietly become part of their network. She made sure Alliance patrols were looking the other way when rescue ships passed through certain areas. Other Alliance officials had also started helping. Inspired by Carter's example, a young human boy came running over to their table. Miss Kira, Naya taught us how to make light patterns with our hands. Look, the boy held up a small device Naya had built for him. It projected colorful patterns into the air, just like her glowing marks did naturally. It's wonderful. Ben, Kira said, Naya is a very good teacher. The boy ran back to play with his friends. Kira watched him go with a thoughtful expression. Jake, she said, I received a message yesterday, from home. Jake's blood went cold. From the military government? No, Kira said quickly. resistance. The people who are fighting against the military faction. Jake relaxed a little. What did they say? The war is turning. The military government is losing support. Many Zilani are tired of the fighting and the cruelty. Stories about how humans have helped Zilani refugees are spreading across our world. This was amazing news. Stories about us? About all the humans who have helped? Kira explained. The story of Captain Jake Morrison, who saved a mother and daughter, has become famous among my people. It has given hope to those who want peace. Jake felt embarrassed. I'm not famous. I just did what anyone should do. That's exactly why the story is so powerful, Kira said. You didn't help us because you wanted to be a hero. You helped us because it was the right thing to do. It shows my people what humans are really like. A few days later, Jake was preparing for his next rescue mission when Sam Rodriguez called him with urgent news. Jake, you need to see this, Sam said, his face serious on the communication screen. There's been a major development in Zilani space. Jake hurried to Sam's office where Kira was already waiting. On the big screen was a news broadcast from Earth. The Zilani homeworld government announced today that the military faction has been overthrown, the news reporter said. The new civilian government has declared an end to the civil war and is calling for all Zilani refugees to return home safely. Kira gasped and covered her mouth with her hands. Her glowing marks became very bright, showing her intense emotions. There's more, the reporter continued. The new Zilani government has specifically thanked human civilians who provided aid to Zilani refugees during the conflict. They are calling for formal diplomatic relations with Earth. Jake stared at the screen. In amazement, this is incredible. The new Zilani leader, President Zara, had this to say. The reporter went on. A new alien appeared on the screen. She looked similar to Kira but older, with more elaborate glowing patterns on her skin, the kindness shown by human individuals. Toward our people during our darkest time will never be forgotten, President Zara said, in accented but clear English. Humans like Captain Jake Morrison and Inspector Helen Carter have shown us that true friendship between species is possible. We look forward to building a peaceful future together. Kira was crying now, but they were tears of joy. Jake, do you understand what this means? My people are free. The killing has stopped. Does this mean you'll go back? Jake asked, though the thought of losing Kira and Naya made him sad. Kira thought about it for a moment. I will visit my homeworld someday. There are people there I want to see again, but Haven Colony is our home now. Naya has friends here. I have work that I love. And most importantly, we have family here. That evening, there was a celebration. In the colony's main square, humans and the few other alien refugees who lived on Haven gathered together to celebrate the news. Children from different species played together, while adults shared food and stories. Naya found Jake sitting by himself. Watching the celebration, Captain Jake, she said, sitting next to him. Are you sad? No, little star, Jake said, using Kira's nickname for her. I'm happy. Very happy. Then why do you look worried? Jake smiled. This little girl was too smart for her own good. Was just thinking about all the other people out there who might need help. There are probably other families floating in space right now, scared and alone. Naya nodded seriously. Then we have to help them too. We, all of us, Naya said, gesturing to the mixed crowd of humans and aliens celebrating together. Mama says that when good people work together, they can fix anything. Jake looked around at the celebration. He saw Sam Rodriguez talking with a Raxon family about setting up a new farm. He saw human children teaching alien children how to play Earth games. He saw Kira laughing with other colony mothers as they watched their children play together. Mama is very wise, Jake said. The next morning, Jake received a communication that made him smile. It was from Inspector Helen Carter. Jake, she said, I have some good news. The Alliance Council has voted to create an official refugee assistance program. They want someone with experience to run it. Someone who understands that helping people in need is always the right thing to do. Jake knew what she was asking. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to help a lot more families like Kira and Naya. What do you say? Jake looked out his window at Naya, who was showing a group of human and alien children how to build a simple robot. She was going to be an amazing engineer. Someday, maybe she would even design ships that could travel between the stars, bringing different species together. I say yes, Jake replied. When do I start? 3 years later, Jake stood on the observation deck of the Alliance station near Earth. Below him, ships from dozens of different species came and went peacefully. Human and alien crews worked together. Families from different worlds visited each other. The Refugee Assistance Program had helped thousands of people find new homes and new lives. The success of places like Haven Colony had inspired other worlds to welcome refugees. What had started with one distress call in the darkness of space had grown into something that was changing the entire galaxy. Kira and Naya visited him often. Naya was now 15 and already designing improvements for starship engines. She spoke 6 different languages and had friends from 12 different species. She was exactly the kind of person the galaxy needed more of. You know, Kira said, joining Jake at the observation window, sometimes I think about that day when our ship was dying in space. If you hadn't heard our signal, someone else would have helped you, Jake said confidently. Maybe not right away, but eventually, good people always find each other. Kira smiled. I think you're right. After all, look what happened. One human cargo pilot heard a distress call and decided to help. Now the galaxy is a better place for everyone. Jake nodded, watching a human child and an alien child playing together in the station's recreation area. Yeah, sometimes the smallest acts of kindness have the biggest results. As if to prove his point, Jake's communication device beeped with a new message. Another distress call. Another family in trouble somewhere in the vast darkness of space. Jake smiled and headed for his ship. He had work to do.